I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Somalia for the statement and now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to acknowledge Undersecretary General Fletcher and Executive Director Russell's briefings, although I would take issue with some of the characterizations in Mr. Fletcher's remarks, which pointed the finger of blame solely on Israel, with one reference to Hamas. I will also address in my remarks how refusal to work with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is tantamount to dereliction of duty in the humanitarian space. Mr. President, the United States remains actively engaged in addressing the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Special Envoy Witkoff continues to work tirelessly to reach a deal that would free the hostages and bring about a ceasefire that will pave the way for peace and prosperity in Gaza and the broader region. Mr. President, before I continue, I want to state that we are aware of reports of fatalities at a Gaza Humanitarian Foundation site in Khan Yunis, and the United States mourns this loss of life. The GHF stated it confiscated weapons at the site and has credible reason to believe that elements within the crowd, armed and affiliated with Hamas, deliberately fomented the unrest. Regarding our diplomatic efforts, Israel has accepted proposed ceasefire terms. However, Hamas continues to stubbornly reject them. We would have a ceasefire today if Hamas had agreed to the proposal on the table. The responsibility for the situation in Gaza lies solely with Hamas. It is long overdue for members of this Council and the UN system to place the pressure where it belongs, on Hamas, which continues to prolong this war and hold 50 hostages, including Americans Itai Hen and Omer Nutra, in captivity. Hamas has held them captive for more than 21 months. The United States will not rest until all remaining hostages come home. Mr. President, no one wants to see Palestinian civilians in Gaza go hungry and thirsty. The United States supports getting assistance to civilians in Gaza. This should happen in a way that does not allow Hamas to benefit. And with respect to reported fatalities or injuries of humanitarian workers as a result of IDF fire, we wish a swift recovery to those injured and offer condolences to those killed. And we recognize Israel's ongoing commitments to investigate these incidents. I would also recall that on June 11th, we witnessed Hamas's murder of 8 innocent Palestinians who were working on behalf of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, attempting to feed their fellow civilians in Gaza. We condemn Hamas's murders in the strongest possible terms. And with respect to West Bank violence, to which many have referred, I would simply note that Ambassador Huckabee has stated that we have asked Israel to aggressively investigate the murder of Saif Musalat, an American citizen who was visiting family in Sinjar when he was beaten to death. There must be accountability for this criminal and terrorist act, and our condolences are with Saif's family. Mr. President, unfortunately today, we have heard many council members and aid agencies continue to defend a failed system rather than support the GHF as it delivers life-saving assistance to those in need. We would urge member states and the UN to support the GHF and stop echoing incorrect information that benefits Hamas and undermines the secure delivery of aid to civilians in Gaza. It is unconscionable that members of this council have focused on criticizing the GHF rather than condemning Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad for their continued abuse of the Palestinian civilians in Gaza. The result is an ever-growing credibility gap for the United Nations. The Security Council, member states, and the United Nations have failed to condemn Hamas's attacks against GHF personnel. Hamas has murdered innocent Palestinians and injured 2 Americans working for the GHF and attempting to feed civilians. In the previous system, Hamas systematically looted humanitarian assistance, turning aid into a tool of control. We saw during the previous ceasefire how the diversion of aid helped Hamas replenish its ranks. Hamas cynically exploited aid for its own purposes, leaving civilians to navigate chaos and lawlessness. The United States supports the delivery of humanitarian aid to civilians in Gaza in a manner that does not benefit Hamas. The GHF is providing crucial and successful The GHF is a crucial and successful mechanism for doing so, distributing more than 76 million meals to civilians in Gaza to date. They succeed where the old system failed in preventing Hamas from using aid to stay in power. It has consistently been able to deliver aid to civilians and remains committed to delivering aid consistent with the humanitarian principles of impartiality, neutrality, independence, and humanity. The GHF is a results-focused alternative to a broken aid system, following through on President Trump's commitment to feed Gaza's civilians without supporting Hamas or prolonging the conflict. The United States supports creative solutions that securely provide aid to Palestinians in Gaza without supporting Hamas or other terrorist organizations, and welcomes the additional aid entering Gaza following the agreement between the European Union and Israel. The United States has worked with GHF to assist the foundation in scaling up and increasing its effectiveness. Mr. President, while no mechanism is perfect, this is a good one, and it is continuously getting better, and the UN should help it do so. We urge Council members to join us in supporting the work of the GHF as it delivers life-saving aid to civilians on the ground. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States and now give the floor to the representative of Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for convening this meeting to receive an update on the humanitarian situation in Gaza.